thanks to all of you for joining us today. We want to make sure that you know who our guest is, and we will be talking about organizing and operating a pitch event with Ambassador Dr. Dureke. I was so focused on pronouncing your last name that I kind of botched it up from the beginning. But we are so thrilled to have you.
It's 5 letters, Dureke.
Dr. Dureke, we are so excited to have you here today and talking to us about a pitch event and what that looks like for us in the nonprofit landscape. Of course, thank you to each and every one of our presenting sponsors. Many of these logos have been up here for the duration of our 300 plus episodes. We are forever grateful to all of them for allowing us to continue these conversations with you and so many other amazing guests that we've had on our episodes. So do find them online, follow them, like them, give them some love. They've got amazing services and products out there to help you continue the great work that you're doing out in our communities. And of course, thank you to Julia Patrick, the CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy. I get to play alongside Julia every day as the co-host. I'm Jarrett Ransom, also known as the Nonprofit Nerd, CEO of the Raven Group. So, as I prefaced a little bit with you, Dr. Dureke, we are focused today on the mission of your organization. And I hope that you'll tell us a little bit about how this got started and what your focus is.
Sure. So basically, how you started could be about 10 or 20 books, but I keep it very short. You know how totally, because when you hear people's story, it's not that one little clip. It could be something that happened so many years ago, but basically it was something that was born out of frustration. I was told that all I needed to do is be a good girl, go to a good college, get all the degrees, and then the world is yours to take. But unfortunately, it wasn't the story of my life. I'm a graduate of Howard University, 3 years with honors, American University, Washington College of Law, 3 years. I got my doctorate. So, and after that, I started to fall apart. I didn't have any practical experience. There's nothing I could do with the papers I was given, right? I said, wait a minute. It took me 20-something years to find myself in the marketplace properly. It took me that long. I didn't have the name. I didn't have the connect. So the paper alone wasn't good enough for me. So it was basically then I said, wait a minute, this is a lie. There got to be a juxtaposition between classroom and practical education that is a supplemental. And I decided with the frustration, because sometimes through your frustration, you can gain inspiration, right? So frustrations are not really a bad thing if you know how to utilize it. So that's really what gave birth to it. And it became my life calling, that I wanted to make sure that as students are in school, they are being taught both classroom and outside of classroom, so they'll be prepared for the workplace or perhaps become entrepreneurs. That's the best way I could actually state the reason why WETATI came about. And I'm so glad I took that frustration and turned it into profit. Not just me, but helping other people, right? So you have any question before I go into the mission? Is that it?
I love it. You know, yeah. I find, and I think Jarrett and we talk about this a lot off camera. I think sometimes the story of inspiration, how we get to a point where we are going to give back to our communities is so powerful. It is so powerful. And that is something that it takes a lot of work to, you know, realize what your problems are and how they can be other people's problems or a shared story. So I give you a lot of credit for this. It's very exciting to hear. Now, you came to us through another guest, a group that we had on many months ago. And what we were so intrigued by your organization is that you were actually doing one of the most exciting and innovative things it's going on now across the spectrum of the nonprofit world. And that is you're hosting a pitch event.
Yeah.
We're seeing so many funders doing pitch events, nonprofits, nonprofit associations. So we thought, you know, let's go right to the source with a nonprofit who's actually doing this, and let's hear what it's been like. So let's start with what your pitch concept is first and foremost.
Sure. So before the concept, let me take a second to tell you what our mission is. Our mission is to educate and empower low to moderate income students, right? Through our practical and experiential activities or programs that prepares them for gainful employment, entrepreneurship, and for future business opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities. That's pretty much how we set it up. Because if you don't do that, if you don't set it up that way, then you can be all over the place and you don't know exactly what the frustration was going into. So your next question, hold on one second. What was your follow-up question?
Well,
Julia.
really wanting to know how you're using the concept of a pitch event.
To teach this concept of the program.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by that.
Okay, let me tell you why. Because when we first started the WETATI program, we have evolved so much because you can't just offer a program just because you want to. It has to be a need, right?
Right.
It has to be a need because if not, you're fooling yourself, right? So I realized that just teaching the concept by itself or the program that we line up, it's almost like doing classroom again. What is the point of doing? Because the distinction between what we do and what others do in the classroom is more theory. They talk about it, they write it, and that's it. And they put it away in the books. So we know that's not going to make a difference in the marketplace. It's not going to create that person, get them ready for workforce and all that as they graduate, right? So we knew that if we don't find a concept or a platform that give the students an opportunity to actually practice what we have taught them, how to fold a piece of paper to form a box, then they will never take it outside of the same classroom concept. That's what gave birth to this. And it was the genius of our organization because parents are calling students. And we actually today have a WETATI Entrepreneurship Masterclass Alumni Network based on those that we have that are doing well. And I'm getting chills. Oh, geez.
Now, where are you located? So you're the audience that you serve or the community that you serve. Tell us where you are and a little bit about the participants.
Okay, sure. So first of all, WETATI stands for We Are Empowered to Achieve the Possible. So we go with the WETATI. We're located in partnership with Nimburu Cultural Center at the University of Maryland College Park since 2013 or 14. So that's where we are. Particularly because charity begins at home. We had to make sure the proof of concept is done locally, right? So we started locally, even though we've gone to Florida and all these other places, launched in Tanzania, in Nigeria and other companies, but it had to stabilize and work here. So we started locally here. And with the whole Prince George's County school system, the Baltimore, so we're fully concentrated to make sure that the charity, meaning saying at home, meaning here in Maryland, we have to make sure that it's successful. The concept works, people see the proof. But the way we've set up our the logic model, we have the logic model set that, and one of the great things that came out of the COVID, because for me, give me a challenge and I bring a profit from it. So through COVID, we have pivoted. So now we can leverage more and access and give more access opportunity to any school anywhere in the world. But right now we're struggling locally, but our convention is not usually national. So anyone can compete that fits in that confine of what we do, basically. But we're poised to take this because there are children and people everywhere in the world who need this opportunity. Show me what is in your hand and we'll show you what you can do with it. Don't cry foul. You don't, like for me, I didn't have everything. Nothing was given to me. But if you're here in the USA, God's own country, with all the isms, there's so much more you can do. You just need somebody to guide you through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So talk to us then about the process for the pitch competition. First of all, you've done this more than once, or this is not your first?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
If this was our first time, I wouldn't be running my mouth so smoothly, you know. No,
okay, so walk us through the competition process because you're dealing with some younger kids too.
Yeah, but people tend to underestimate the power of a young kid that needs to be validated. The first thing we do with the students is let them know that we care, because nobody cares about what you need to give them until they know that you care about their well-being or what, that their life matters. So the process is a bit long, but when what you believe in does not surpass the pain you bear, then it's not worth believing in, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So we work around the school system. We work with the school calendar, normally 32 weeks. So we start the process the week or two after school starts with our partnering schools. We have a lot of endorsement with some of the public schools here in the county. And we start with the 32-week program that involves financial literacy, STEMpreneur. We came up with the STEMpreneur because most of the kids in the certain neighborhood don't even want to go into the sciences because they think it's hard, but it's not that it's hard. Not all of them. I'm just speaking in general, because nobody introduced those concepts to them very early on in life. So we're saying here, if you come up with an idea, we have partners that we can reach out to, and we get to the extent that we could afford to. So we have the STEMpreneur and workforce development training. We go through that with the different schools. We focus on middle school, high school, college, and university students. So we go through that throughout the year, teaching the different levels, the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, understanding how money is generated, how is wealth built, what you have to do to create your own. Our mantra, by the way, is changing the narrative and creating your own opportunity. Everybody can do something. So we go through that process. We have, and here's important to Jared and Julia, we don't use regular classroom teachers. We use people in the real world who have succeeded and understanding what we need to teach. We go through that process through the schools with the students for that number of weeks. We get to the point where we now begin to sift through the ones who just want to get the general knowledge and those that we can move towards that competition. They look for that competition because they do win money, they win mentorship. I just got off a conversation with Casa Permanente because they're one of our partners. I have a student whose idea involves something like that. I reached out to them. So we go through that and bring them to the point where at the end of the 32 weeks that ended in May, we now have a 6-week program called WETATI Idea Lab, which teaches a student who's interested, because you got to participate in your own rescue, on how to take idea from ideation to implementation and execution. After that, like this week now, tomorrow, we're going to teach that. The number gets smaller because not everybody's going to follow through, but it doesn't matter. We're not here to change the world, but if we can make a difference in a few important places, they can be the one to spike the light, right? So we post that process, get through that process. And at that point, that group are the one that are competing for the national, which is July 27th. Right? So we're also teaching them process. We're also teaching them the perseverance. That is not the blank, is the process. So it's a long story that I brought too short for you to kind of get a gist on. Then on the 27th, they all will compete because we give scholarships. We have our judges are the different strategic business partners we have in the county and beyond. Then the award would happen August 28th, where that's live. We usually have 2,500 people dance, they interact, we introduce them where they get internship. That's basically, maybe you can ask me a question, but if you let me go, I just keep telling you how it happens.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna stop you because I have so many questions. Yes. First and foremost, are you coaching these kids on how to get up in front of a theater full of people? I mean, 2,500 guests is a lot and would be intimidating to a seasoned speaker, let alone a student. Yeah.
The 2,500 people, when we had a live event, and that is the gala, where we do the award, where everybody's smooshing and drinking and having fun. I don't mean drinking like just, regular gala before somebody thinks, oh my God, they're drinking. No, not like that. No. So the part of it, part of what we do, like I told you, is a holistic approach. Nobody's going to do it if you didn't teach them pre-process. So we teach them public speaking. We have videos, we have people, they are prepared. So each of the students that are going to actually participate in this, they are all going to be taught. They are already going through that process right now. If they are shy and don't know how to present, there is someone who's going to take them through one of our strategic partners or people on our staff and walk them through the process and find out what. So they get coached. If not, it's not going to work. And the great thing about it, at the end, they become a better person. They are more confident. Like the one I told you, Larry, he said, when I met you, I didn't even believe in myself. Think about that. These are people here. instead of Maryland. So that's the short answer to it. They have to be prepped. And the reason why I don't let them get into, oh, I'm shy, life doesn't care if you're shy. It's going to hold you accountable when you get into the world. You've got to stand up for yourself. So the short answer to that long answer to your question is that yes, we do. We do teach them that.
That is very valuable. I talk about him often, but I have a 10-year-old son. So 5th grade, he'll be going into 6th grade. And every week they are required to recite a poem, and it has to be done, orally in front of the class. Some of them are really long ones. And I'm just fascinated, one, by his memorization, but also his ability and, to be poised and confident to now recite what he's learned. And that's been happening since he was a kindergartner. And so now, he's moving into 6th grade. So I can imagine, all of the value that these students and participants in your program are receiving through this, and then how that carries into not just confidence, right, but that professionalism and ability to present and to talk and talk about whatever they're selling, wherever life might take them. So those are some really valuable tools, and I'm really glad to hear that your strategic partners are right there with them to coach them and mentor them along the way.
Yeah, so, Jerry, you just 1 second. You just totally got it, because a lot of people think it's about the number of years you've been on earth. Is not true. It is what you started teaching them way on. There are people that are in their 70s. They can't even step out of their house. They're scared of the mosquito. That's right. So it's when just using your son as an example, what he's doing now, you can't even, what he's gaining is immeasurable. He wouldn't even be able to, but you see it later on in his life. And that's what we have proven. Some parents didn't think their kids are young enough, old enough to say, no, now more of them are calling because they can see the impact. It is what we tell them that they're capable of, and nourish and help them to believe that they can. This is when they're not even afraid. At my age, I'm afraid of everything, right?
Oh, absolutely. I still get afraid, and I show up every day and do this, but there's still that nervous energy that shows up regardless of 2,500 people, at a pitch event or, going to a networking event. And for me, I think it's also, and I'm sure your program teaches this, how do you manage that energy, right? How do you manage, acknowledge, recognize, and work through it so you can still show up and be that calm, collected, delivered message that you intend to do?
Yeah, I think that what you also said again, Jared, is very, very important. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to let the students know that you care. If you see where now we have the student, for instance, one of our partners is College Park Academy. There's a young girl called Leah, and she shared a story. And as God would have it, their director was watching that day. And she couldn't believe what she heard and what she saw. When we were talking about how to articulate your idea, when you're talking about, it's like we have a deck, what we call WETATI Canvas model, where you walk them through the steps. Here you do this, you do that. And I said, for example, WETATI was born out of frustration, right? So that's what is driving me. What is it that is driving your idea? Because if your why is not strong enough, you're going to flounder the minute you get challenged. So we go through that process because it's important. Once they believe, it took a while, almost a year later before she opened up and shared her story. We kind of nurture them, let them, and kids know when you're faking it. They know when you truly care. And so that's very important.
Absolutely.
I love it. I'm so intrigued by your energy and the things that you've done and the big thinking that you've done, Dr. Dureke. One of the things that I want to talk to you about, because you shared with me some of your collateral, and I got to be honest with you, you have some pretty impressive sponsors.
Yes, thank you so much.
Many people would be like, if I could just get one of those, and I don't know what their financial investment is, but just to be aligned with some of these really big companies, super impressive. I'm wondering if, we don't have a lot of time left, but if you could kind of share what some of that journey has been in cultivating those relationships with some of those bigger sponsors.
That's maybe we need another show for that.
We do.
But the truth of the matter is, and a lot of people want the best thing in life, but they want to do a little bit. It doesn't work. I am very dogged and very indefatigable in life in the pursuit of what I want, right? If that makes any sense. Some people go to a sponsor, a potential strategic partner, they go one time, they're like, oh, they say no to me, I won't give up. I'm like this. And then I continue to show you why. I continue to show you why. In fact, one of our biggest strategic sponsor and partners, the mayor of Bowie, Tim Adams, he said there was an interview with Faith that is in charge of our social media, and I cried when, I'm a crying baby, of course. So when he said that WETATI is a very successful man in business, he said in the interview that WETATI is exactly his life story and that he wished he had an organization when he was coming up. And we hear that a lot. So it's because I don't give up. We don't give up. You continue to fine tune. People aren't stupid that they know when you are in it for the long haul. And you begin to show those impacts, you begin to show the result. We have parents sending us money saying, this is what is going on. I have a parent who now want to come work for our organization based on the impact of their kid, what this has done for them. So when those people, they see it and you reach out and you show them the proof. When I say money, not the money, why they need to come and support you, they will come. And the greatest news is we've never lost not one since we started. They continue to grow and we get them referral. It hasn't been easy. The short and long answer is that is not giving up and making sure you fine tune what it is you're trying to get them to buy into. And if they see the impact and see your passion for it, they will come along.
Wow. As you're looking forward, I mean, you've done so much. You've started an organization based on your own personal experiences, building something that I would say a pitch, a competition is unique in itself. Yeah. You've done all these things. Then you have COVID and you have to change so much. I'm going to ask you as we finish up our time together, what do you see the future for your organization and for the students that you work with? What does that look like to you?
Bigger and brighter than ever before. What you just talked about is the 1/10 of what I do. I also run an organization called Margaret Speaks. I've written a lot of books. I'm not saying this to impress you, but to impress on everyone that if you really want it, you find a way to make it happen. The future with WETATI is going to be totally beautiful because we have more substances people coming to be a part of it. And we are working in partnership with venture philanthropy partners who have given us 3 years of capacity building, where now we put in a logic model that our programs are going to be standardized against each, where it's going to be online. Thanks in a weird way to COVID, we now can see our 5-year in 1 year, right? And then the only thing we'll do going forward is going to be the live, the gala, the virtual awards where we give scholarships and bring the partners together, because I still believe in the human connectivity. So the future with WETATI is just beginning. So let's talk about how we can come over to your states and stuff like that and take it everywhere, because every kid deserved to be supported and given the idea and let them believe that they can do something no matter what. That's what WETATI stands for. And this year, WETATI.com/convention or WETATI.org/convention has every detail that is there. We're looking for more volunteers that believe, because if we don't work together to support one another, there's no way our society will be able to stand itself. It is by loving and helping where we can that we all can have this great life we're seek to, and then a better community.
And you're saying, so the participants or the winners, they receive scholarship funding. What does that look like?
Sure. So normally we do everything at the same time, but because of COVID, people don't stay on Zoom or whatever you use for too long. So we broke it down into 2. So now we have the idea, the entrepreneurship business expo, where different business partners will come and showcase and connect with that. And then we have the idea page. Then the students don't know who won. They get ready, we do all the things. The actual awards gala is August the 28th from 6 to 8. Everything is virtual. And Project Management for Change has partnered and working with us. They'll provide us the platform, they help us put together. So that's when those students will be provided. They'll be first and second and third place winner. They're going to win money. They win mentorship in what company, which one of our strategic partners, whether it's Truist Bank or Fortune Bank, whoever, that is going to help them take their business to success level. But we're there to monitor behind the scene wherever they need us. That's the way we go. And then we take it from there.
That sounds a little like Shark Tank to me, which I love, because not only do they get the investment of the money, right, but you're also getting that mentorship and the coach through the venture capitalist.
So Julia, your guys' assignment would be, can you guys reach out to them so that they can come and be part of our organization and
Right.
support us? That's your assignment from me. We need them. We need Mark.
I love you, need
Mark.
Mark.
That's great.
Oh
Well,
my
this
God.
is such a fantastic program, and to echo Julia, you know, definitely your energy is, you know, shining through and glowing through. So everyone that you have been able to touch through this program, and I heard you work, you know, and have other programs that you have been a part of, very I don't know, beneficial to have you in their lives. And we are so grateful to have you on the show to talk about this.
Thank you so much. I'm eternally grateful.
Here's Dr.
Dureke.
Dureke's
Yeah, 5
information.
letters, Julia, just like your name, 5 letters.
You would think that it would be easier. Really an interesting website. You need to check them out because it's so fascinating to see how your organization has grown, how young you start with these students, which I think is fascinating. And then moving them through college and university systems, amazing. And so it's really fabulous work. And we are super excited that you would join us today and talk about it, because these are the things that I think, you know, make nations great, and it makes people wonderful. And and Jarrett, I have to give a shout out, because Jarrett's been doing more and more moderation of these competitive events or pitch events. And I really see this as something that is successful. It has, whether you win or you lose, you win, you know, because
win. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's been fascinating to watch. Yes, I've served as a moderator and an MC in the virtual capacity for the last 2 years for the YNPN chapter here in my community, so the greater Phoenix area. And to see these nonprofit leaders, you know, shape their message, present their message, has really been fascinating. And it is such a phenomenal tool because, like you said, Julia, whether they actually win the competition or not, they have won by being able to put all of this together, all of whatever it is that they're working on for this in particular, you know, story. And that has been fascinating. As we were saying, you know, it's so much more than telling the message. It's the confidence, it's the professionalism. There's, you know, soft skills that go along with that. So thank you, Dr. Dureke, for what you do and how you provide this wonderful support to the community. I will be watching the competition and seeing how it goes to find out what happens in August. So it'll be an interesting journty.
I'm sure we will connect again, and you guys totally on point. And the last thing you guys said before I shut up is that the guy who's heading our alumni was not a winner. He was number 4, and I pushed him up. I said, if you learn the process, now you go do it. Just to tell you guys what you guys said is the truth.
Absolutely.
WETATI.org is my email. Margaret@WETATI.org.
Oh my gosh, it has been wonderful to talk with you. Hey, everybody, I'm Julia Patrick, and I've been joined by the nonprofit nerd herself, Jarrett Ransom. I always like to say she's your nonprofit, the nonprofit, but most of all, my nonprofit nerd. So we're delighted.
So much to go around, so don't worry.
No pressure, Jarrett, no pressure. Hey, we want to thank our presenting sponsors. Without you, we would not be here having this amazing discussion. And just such an inspirational way for us to start off the week. So we want to thank everyone. Remember, we've started a new show called Fundraising Events TV. It's specifically dedicated to events, things that go on. And we always like to say, from ballrooms to barns, from golf to galas, we got you covered. Our co-host on that is the amazing Jason Champion, who we have had on before with Jarrett and I. And so it's really a lot of fun and super interesting. So find us on fundraisingevents.tv. Wow, amazing, amazing show, Jarrett. And like I said earlier, a great way to kick off the week.
Absolutely. Monday always amazes me. And then it's followed by, you know, 4 more just as equally amazing guests. So thank you for your time, your expertise, Dr. Dureke, and to all of you for joining us either live or the recording. So thank you so much for being here for this episode of the Nonprofit Show. We will be back tomorrow. And until then, please stay well so you can do well. We'll see you here tomorrow.